you that are just joining us for the first time, happy Thanksgiving. Those of you that did the dressing with me earlier, welcome back. We're going to now go ahead and do the turkey. And I call this Karalee. Did you call it Karalee's famous turkey, Charles?
I didn't call it that. That's what the name is on the screen.
Okay. I've taken turkey recipes from over the years, and so this is actually like 3 or 4 different recipes that I've combined. It's funny because one of my coworkers that works in our Denver office was saying, Karalee, I hear your turkey's really good. I saw the pictures last year, and can I have the recipe? And I'm like, oh my, because I like take this recipe, this recipe, this recipe, and I kind of combine them. So I will be rewriting some of these recipes. I've rewritten some of them already, and I will be getting those up on the website later as well. So the first thing is you want to make sure that your turkey is defrosted, because they always give them to you frozen, and you don't want to. Everybody has a different thing of defrosting. What I do, I'm kind of old school, and there probably some people are going to go, oh my, but I set it out I have this nice tray that will catch any juices, and I keep one of these trays in my refrigerator at all times, and I keep my meat on it so the meat doesn't get juices on the rest of my refrigerator. But what I do is I set it out for a few hours each night, okay? And I set it where it's going to be it's a cool part of the kitchen, and then I'll actually turn it, and sometimes you get ice built up underneath the net, and I break that down. Okay, so and sometimes when I open it, gosh darn it, there's still some ice in there, but it's okay because it's defrosted enough that it's going to be fine. So what you want to do is you want to clean your sink. I use really hot soapy water, rinse it all out, clean it out, make sure it's completely clean of all substances. The same thing with your counter that you're going to be working around with. So not only do you want to clean it before you get the poultry on it, but you want to clean it really good after you get the poultry on it. So if you're going to use a pair of scissors, be prepared to put them in the dishwasher. You're not going to have them the rest of the day or until you run your dishwasher. So remember that as well when you're opening your turkey. Now also, when I was a kid, you could look at the turkey and you could tell by the package if it was a tom turkey or a hen turkey. Now they just label them young turkey. Okay, you want to show here, Charles, how they label it young turkey? And it's really frustrating because I was raised that you've got to have a tom turkey. And so on the label, I don't know if we can get this or not, it will say tom. I'm reading it sideways. It'll say tom or hen here, okay? The hens are typically smaller, but my grandfather always said that the tom turkeys were better. Their meat was firmer, but they had like a coat of fat on them, and it wasn't actually ingrained into the meat. So I was raised that tom turkeys are best. So you're going to go ahead and want to cut the netting off of here. Okay, and then you're going to want to cut this off. Now this is put on with a metal piece, and so I always get rid of this metal clamp first, just so I don't accidentally cut myself or get someplace into the turkey. And it's not always easy because they pull this nice and snug. Now remember, there's going to be juices in here, so again, it's nice to have it on something that's going to catch the juices. Okay, now these scissors are done. You're not going to be needing this anymore. And likewise, I didn't mention, but obviously you're going to wash your hands with the soap and water and get those cleaned as well. Okay, so there's a lot of juice in here, so I'm going to try to pick this up and get rid of a lot of this juice. It was a lot. It was like a quart and a half. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and rinse that down. I shouldn't have got rid of my scissors yet. So I'm going to put that together real quick. If you guys don't have a pair of cut scissors, it's a must in the kitchen, I think. I don't ever use them to cut meat and such if they say it's good, but I use it to cut a lot of other things. Okay, so now one of the things you want to look at is this turkey's not very well cleaned, and that's okay. We're going to clean them up. But if you see any of these plumes or the ends of the plumes, you want to go ahead and get those off, and they come off quite easily while your hands are still a little bit dry. Okay, and then inside the turkey, there's going to be the neck, And we're actually gonna throw the neck away. I'll put it here for now, Charles. That's right. Okay, so in the body of the main cavity of the turkey, you'll find the neck. And you'll also see this extra fat. I tend to pull this off, and I will also throw that in the trash can. You do not want to put that down your garbage disposal. Okay. Now, if you're going to stuff your turkey, you're going to want to keep that because that's what you're going to cover up your stuffing with. But I don't want to eat that. Okay. I don't want all that extra fat in my turkey. Okay. So now we're going to turn him around, and in his neck cavity. In his neck cavity, it should all be in a nice little bag, okay? And a lot of depending on how old you are, you might have your family's been using this. Can you get me the roast utensil, Charles? Thank you. This is the giblets and such, and a lot of people put this in their gravy, okay? My family is not one that really likes this in their gravy, so I don't put it in the gravy. But Charles loves the heart, maybe because I'm heartless, I'm not sure. But so I'm just going to tuck that in the bottom here. Now, if you want any of this liver or gizzards, you can put that in there as well, or you can save that for your dressing. I'm just going to actually toss it because our family's not real keen on that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my turkey and I'm going to get him in the sink. And with cold water, you're going to want to clean off. I should have kept my scissors again, it looks like. Anything that looks kind of dry, like this looks dry and then it has all this gristle in it, because I'm going to be cooking it without dressing it, I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. Now you have to be quite careful because around here where the neck came off, this is bone and this is really quite sharp, so be careful with that. So we're going to clean the outside of him off first. Clean off any plumage that we see, any extra fat that we don't want. Now you're going to want some fat because that goodness is what helps make the nice gravy also. But you do want to pull these plumes off. And now there's something I don't have in my second sink is a garbage disposal, and I've always said I'd like to have a garbage disposal in both sinks. This is a perfect reason for it because I'm putting those other particles over there, and those little plumage I can run down this garbage disposal. Okay, the outside of him quite looks nice now. So you got to clean the inside. So on the inside, unlike a goose, he actually has 2 cavities. Okay, so you're going to kind of want to get in here, put some water in here. Now, it is going to run through. It's not going to completely fill up, but you can't hardly reach through the 2 cavities. Like you can a goose, you can actually see through the 2 cavities quite easily. And you would kind of want to reach in here and get some of this loose debris stuff out. This one they've cleaned up quite nicely, actually. This is kind of dry looking, so I'm going to cut this off. And the same thing with his neck. You want to clean that area. Okay. And we'll come back and clean that sink up later. So you want to make sure and drain both cavities. And because I'm not going to stuff him, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the roasting pan. And I'm going to go ahead and put him breast side up. And rather than dress these or truss them, I'm just going to tuck them underneath the handle here. Okay. He looks lopsided.
You got the breast side down, don't you?
I do. That's why he looks.
That's
lopsided.
why he looks lopsided. Yeah.
That's a lopsided turkey today. Okay. The wings are going to tend to go out, so you want to kind of tuck them in. Since I used a roasting rack, I'm going to tuck them in there. Okay. Now, I forgot to get my butter. I've made 2 types of seasoned butter. This is the maple butter that we made earlier together. And I'm only going to use about half of this for the turkey, so I don't want to scoop in there because then it's going to become contaminated. So I'm just going to put some in another container here. Okay. And the first thing you're going to want to do, and you notice I've taken all my jewelry off of my right hand because I'm right-handed, is I'm going to come in here, and this one's going to be, he's going to be a tough turkey this year. And you want to just kind of wiggle your hand in until you're kind of separating the skin from the rest of the turkey. Okay, and sometimes it gets a little tough, but the skin is tough. It's not, and I don't use this, so I'm going to take this out. If you use that pop-up, you can certainly leave it there, or you can take it out and put it back in if you put it back in the same spot. This is easier than this. It's got a nice fat layer, but it's making it more difficult to get in here, on here. You might want to come from this other side, Charles. So I got one little spot right here that doesn't want to let me in here, so I'm going to take these scissors, being careful not to cut the skin. Almost like surgery. You want to loosen this all up, and I get as much as I can in here because we're not going to baste the turkey. Part of what makes a turkey dry is opening up that oven door, because every time you open up the oven door, it loses heat. Okay, so I'm going to come in from this side. This side you have to be more careful on because you don't have that extra cavity, that extra layer of skin beneath you. Okay. Over here, okay, and then we're going to go ahead and take the butter and we're going to goop it in here, okay. And we're going to put it on, we're going to actually putting all of this in here, and that side's kind of open, it's going to goosh out, so I'm going to put most of it on the main breast itself. Now, if your butter's a little thin, sometimes it comes out thinner than others, and I took this out about 3 o'clock in the morning to get it thin. I probably should have left it a little bit longer. You can kind of pour it in here. Not very elegantly. Being careful that it doesn't go down the cavity, which is a little bit tricky. And I just tore the skin, but that's okay. I don't know if you can get this shot with my arm in here, Charles. See how the butter's all there between the skin and the turkey breast. Okay, so I've got a good amount in there. So I'm going to take the balance that I have, and I'm going to pour it over the turkey. And I'm going to rub it all in. Very much like a rub on extra that you do on a steak or a roast. Go ahead and get some on his legs. Oh, can you get me a little bit of salt? There's the salt behind you. So as we mentioned before, if you thank you, it's more than enough. The salt will help take that, in this case, butter off of your hand. But if you're making like a meatloaf, it might be grease or whatever. You want to make sure and clean your hands really good. If you have fingernails, make sure to clean underneath the fingernails as well. And then notice I'm going to dry with a paper towel rather than my kitchen towels because I'm still working with the poultry and I don't want to have to switch out my towel because I'm going to be working with it for a little bit longer now still. Okay, so now we need to we're going to set this butter aside. Sure, I'll set it someplace. And we're going to go ahead, we need to put some rough cut celery. You want to get, I usually save these inside stalks because the celery leaves have quite a bit of flavor in them. And these are just need to be really rough cut because they're not going to be doing anything with them. And your carver may like it better if they're larger because then he doesn't have to worry about getting so much out. Okay. And it says about a cup and a half of celery. You don't really have to measure it so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut the celery up to what I don't need for my celery sticks. I don't like this part up here for my celery sticks, so I'm going to cut that off on all of these. That way I'm not wasting it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. You see, and I use these baby carrots, so I don't have to slice them up. And then I'm going to put in a small onion. I have a small onion. And again, I'm going to rough cut it. And if you have problems with onions making you cry, remember you can rinse them under cold water will help. And also wearing some glasses, even if they're just those, what do people call them?
Readers?
Glasses, yeah. Some people call them pharmacy glasses, but just you can get them with little to no prescription in them, really. But you don't want to use sunglasses because you want to be able to see properly. This one layer doesn't want to come off, so I'm just going to take off the extra layer. I don't want the skin in there. Some people like the skin because it adds extra flavor. I don't, because then sometimes you might get a piece in your turkey, and I don't like that. Okay, and again, we're going to cut this rough. I'll cut you a little bit smaller than I normally would because I want to put some in the pan as well as inside his cavity. So I'm going to put some inside his main cavity, inside. Okay, so I'm going to put some onion in here, and I'm going to put the rest of the onion just in the pan. Even though we're not basting the turkey, we may baste it once, maybe even twice, but the juices kind of will go up in there. Then we want to put some celery in here. And again, because I don't want to dry him out, I'm not putting much in there. I think we'll be able to I might not be able to hold him because he's kind of buttered up, but I think we'll be able to show you an inside shot. And we want to get some carrots in there too. And then all the rest of this is just going to go in the pan underneath. And I like to use a roasting rack for the turkey, rather than like the goose. I use what do we call those, Charles?
Silicone laurels.
Yeah, it looks like a laurel crown, like Caesar used to wear. But I want the turkey more out of the juice because one, I like a crispy skin. As many of you know, that's the best part of the turkey. I know a lot of people throw it away these days, but that's the only part I eat. Well, I eat some more of it. That's my favorite part, I should say. So I don't want it in its juices, okay? So if you kind of look, let's see if we can look in his cavity here, Charles. See, the cavity's not very full. There's quite a bit of room in there. It's only about a quarter of the way height. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands again. All right, and now we have made our stock before, okay? And if you remember, those of you that watched my video or that were live with me, it was my first time using my Instapot, and I kind of misunderstood it. And so when I ended up, I was a little short on my stock. So what I've done is I've just added some chicken broth this morning to it, and I should have taken this out of the refrigerator a little bit earlier because the stock we made is kind of gelled. It's nice and thick. Okay, but I'm just gonna I went ahead and add some chicken stock to what I need. It was supposed to be 7.5 to 8 cups. I had some chicken stock left, and so I just used the rest of it, which brought us a little over 8 cups. Okay, I'm gonna kind of blend this up. It's going to start separating the second I stop. So I'm gonna hopefully do this as fast as I can. And I want to pour about 2 cups of this in here. And it doesn't matter where it goes because it's going to smear, it's going to run all over. So unlike the turkey, so there's about 2 cups. And then you can just lift this to make sure it gets on both ends. Okay, so we want to make sure that the turkey is tucked in. We don't want him sticking out anywhere. Okay, if you spill anything on the outside of the pan, you want to clean that up, because otherwise you'll have to really work to clean it up later. Okay, we've heated the oven to 350, and we're going to cook him, we heated the oven to 375, hopefully. Yes. Okay, we've heated the oven to 375. We're going to cook him for 30 minutes, and then we're going to tent him, loosely tent him, and then cook him, turn the temperature down to 350. And this is a 17-pound bird, so it'll cook 2.5 hours. We may baste it when we put the tent on it, but you'll see, and we'll make a second video at that. Or maybe we'll just put a picture on with this, so you can see how nice and golden brown he's starting to get. But the key is to keep the foil tent loose on him. You're not going to be basting him like so many of you are used to seeing your mom open and close that door, check the temperature, baste him. And we just know, because it's unstuck, that it's going to take about 2.5 hours after we turn it down, so about 3 hours total. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move him over here. And I don't want to get my oven cold, or we don't want it to start to cool off. So we're going to move him over here. Hopefully you remember to remove all the extra racks out of your oven. I have a wide, not so tall oven. Some people have a taller oven, which is kind of nice at Thanksgiving time because you can put those other dishes underneath or on top of the turkey. You can arrange them. My oven doesn't accommodate that because I do like to cook a big bird. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in here. You'll notice that I have, and Pampered Chef consultants are all streaming right now. I have my stoneware in there. Okay, we're going to set the timer for 30 minutes. I leave my stoneware in there. Now I would like to tell you, because the Pampered Chef consultant is going to go, it's not covered by their warranty once you cook with it like this, okay? But and you notice mine is broken, and that's why it's not covered. And it's not so much the weight of the turkey that's on it, but it's keeping the metal, the heat that's caused from the metal pan. But it distributes your heat more evenly. So to me, it's worth it. I obviously don't use those stones to cook my cookies on. I use a different stone for that. But I do have stones in both of my ovens that I leave all the time. So we've got our turkey going. Okay, notice that the heating just came on. So just that little bit of time we had that oven door open, it dropped the temperature enough that it's kicking back on. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands one more time. And I'm not going to bother you with cleaning up the kitchen, but I want to show you a couple other secrets that I've done. So we talked earlier about timing and how do you time cooking all these different items. Okay, and some people don't have 2 ovens. I'm lucky enough to have 2 ovens. But some people are lucky enough to have one tall oven because a turkey doesn't eat a wide oven. And then you can cook those dishes in there. And remember, the turkey's going to come out, and it needs to sit for about 30 minutes before carving, and then it usually takes the carver 10 to 15 minutes to carve it as well. So you've got that time. So what I've done is, Charles, if you come over here, is I started, and I just used some scrap pieces of paper, and so I put things that are on here. So we had done the dressing earlier. So the dressing's going to cook for 350. It needs to cook for 30 minutes covered and 10 to 15 minutes uncovered. So that's 45 minutes. So that's a little bit more time than my turkey is. So I got to watch, and it's got to go in about 10 minutes before the turkey comes out. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and look at the next recipes here. So the green bean casserole also cooks at, I think it's 350. Yes. So it bakes at 350. So I'm going to put beans on here. I just abbreviate it. And it cooks uncovered for 20 minutes. Okay. So just before the dressing comes out, instead of doing this dressing at 30 minutes covered, I'm going to set the timer at 25 minutes. Because the bean dip, the bean casserole has to go on for 20 minutes uncovered. And when it goes off and then when it goes off, I can go ahead and set the timer for the 5 more minutes, take the cover off of the dressing, or the stuffing, the dressing, and then then start my timer for the 20 minutes. Okay, and then we haven't decided yet if we're making yams. Charles, I'm not a sweet potato person. Then Charles preferred to have a baked sweet potato this year, and since we're not having a huge gathering, I'm going to be doing him a baked sweet potato this year. So we haven't decided yet for what's going on with that. I'm waiting for a response from both Charles's mother and my mother to see if they really want some yam leftovers or not. So we're going to just kind of add these on the list as we do them. And the reason I have 2 sheets is because I may have something that has a different temperature. Okay, so again, the dressing's going to go on first. I'll set it for 25 minutes. I'll put the beans in. I'll set the timer for 5 more minutes. Take the cover off of the dressing, and then go for my 15 minutes from there. And so I think did I forget anything about the turkey, Charles?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay, so the turkey is on his own. He's happy in there. We're going to check him in 30 minutes. We're going to give him a quick baste, and then we're going to very loosely give him a tent over. Okay, think of it more, instead of a tent, think of it more as like an awning. Okay, I know that many of your families used to tucking it all in around the wings and the legs. We don't want to do that. We just want to kind of, I call it a tent because it's going to be shaped like this, but it's loose like an awning. It's quite a bit above him if possible. I think that's it for the turkey. We'll add pictures or videos. I'm not sure which way is going to be best. Probably just pictures of the next steps. We will be having a session of Charles carving the turkey. My grandfather taught him a way he actually takes the turkey breast off whole and then slices it up that way. And it's really, it has a nice presentation, and plus everybody gets a really nice piece of turkey that way. So I think that's it. We will come back in a short little bit to make the green bean casserole. Get it ready to go in the oven later today. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.